Hi everybody, it's Maxine English coming to you today from Unlocking the Fearless You with Content Tuesday. Now, as advertised, we've got myself and we've also got Rajan Singh. And Raj at the moment, he's had a bit of a nightmare. He's just driven four hours to get to Cardiff. And at the moment, he's trying to get his hotel room booked in. So he's running a little bit late. So you've got me for now. And then what he's going to do is he's going to pop in a little bit later. So I want to say thank you for everyone that's coming on. Hi, Avi. It's glad to see you already, my darling. I like the fact that you're here. That's great and fabulous. And it's today I'm going to be, hi, Adam. Nice to see you as well, my darling. And today I wanted to give you a bit more content. You know, last week we spoke about with Chinda and we talked about marriage and relationships and, you know, how to make them absolutely amazing. Now, today is going to be a little bit harder. And the reason why it's going to be a little bit harder, not only I'm going to give you a bit more of an in-depth and we're going to go deep in you know, what that I've gone through, but it's also we're going to talk about domestic abuse and domestic violence. So get your tissues out, guys. And if you want to join in, you're absolutely fine. I've put it on here today so you can come and join the broadcast if you want to join. I've also got it that if you want to ask any questions, I'm an open book. You know, because at the end of the day, the more open I am with you, then the more that I can help you. And the more that I can help you, the more that I'm doing my job. So hopefully, you know, if you want to ask me any questions, don't be scared. Don't be fearful. I will only ever be honest with you and give you my honest opinion. So, you know, I'm quite happy to ask anything you want to do. So as I said, we're coming with Unlocking the Fearless You, and we're going to be talking about domestic abuse. Now, Raj is, when Raj comes on soon, a little bit later, if he can get on today. If not, I will drag him back in here on Monday, so it won't be a problem. So sorry, on Tuesday. Honestly, I've got so much going around in my head today. My head's just everywhere. It doesn't help that I've had 4 hours sleep in like 72 hours. So hopefully I can stay focused today. I'm doing my best. So yeah, it's very much, you know, this is very close to my heart. I'm going through a lot of the situations now, not with me because I've overcome mine, but a lot of things with the children, and children are affected as well. So we are going to cover that as well on here today. So any of you that are on here, Adam's put, I went to counselling and it was hard. Do you know what, Adam? The fact is that you went to counselling, that is your first step, my darling, and that is, you know, that is absolutely amazing. Your first step is your hardest. And once you get and do your counselling and you go to it every week or every month, whatever you're doing, you know, it's so much, you'll feel more healing in yourself, and you'll learn to live with what's happened or live with yourself and what's going on in your life. So, you know, just keep going. You know, whether you think the first 2 or 3 times, is it really worth it? Do you know what? It is. Trust me, I've been there. I've done 12 sessions myself. And I've been there, I've done it, I've got the t-shirt. And this is the reason why I can talk to you today about all this, because everything that I discuss with you is what I've been through in my life. You know, that's the reason why I do the life coaching, because how can you be a life coach for someone that's not gone through anything? So, you know, this is the reason why I do what I do on the broadcasts. And basically by doing that, you know, it helps you out in one way or another. And there's been a few of you that have messaged me and said that I've helped, and that's what it's all about. Hi, Deborah. I see you had part 2 with Herman today, keeping you nice and busy. It's absolutely brilliant. Who else we got on here today? So we've got Avi. Avi's already come through. It's brilliant. Adam's put, I have the biggest question, which only you can answer. Have you got a drink this time? I did. I brought a drink. So hopefully no coughing and spluttering. But if you do want to ask me anything, then just ask me, whether it's something that you've gone through personally yourselves, or whether it's just something that you want to find out that's happened to me, or just in general. And I'll be happy to answer your questions. So for people that are out there, what is domestic abuse? Now, you'll be really surprised what a domestic abuse covers, because, you know, there are certain things in this life, in people do, that you wouldn't even think about is domestic abuse. You wouldn't give a second thought to it. But I have written down and I've listed them all, so I'm going to reel some of them off, and you can tell me what you think, because, you know, you'll be surprised on some of them. And you know what? And I agree on a lot of them. And hi, Richard. Nice to see you, my darling. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so what is domestic abuse? Now, it comes down to controlling, threatening, degrading, violent, sexual, intimidation, psychological abuse, emotional, financial, harassment, online and digital abuse, which obviously is your social media side, false marriages and honour crimes. Now, as you can imagine, we can all understand those. We all understand that them kind of abuses come in, and we can see them coming. We can see when they're happening. But the thing is when you're a domestic abuse victim yourself, you don't see all these things because it is just part of life, and really depends on how you've grown up in your life and what you've gone through in your life. And then with your partner or with a family member or anything that you know who's close to you that's giving you this problem, you don't always see it straight away because you think that they're doing it because they love you, and that is not the case, because love does not come in the form of domestic abuse or any kind of abuse at all. Okay, so it comes in lots of different forms. Rich has put, maybe you can give me female logic advice. Female logic, yeah, okay, I can do that, that's fine. Adam's put, oh no, I know a lot about domestic abuse and it affects children on a daily basis. Yes, it does. And you know what, it affects my children on a daily basis. And my children at the time were 8 and 3, then they're 16 and 12, and they still affects them on a daily basis. And I'm going to go into more of that a little bit later. So when it comes down to what is domestic abuse, a lot of people just see, is it physically being punched? Is it something that someone's just had a go at you about something? And it's not. I mean, it could be that the fact is someone's taken your purse away, or, someone stopped you seeing your children. That is actually abuse. Having a partner or an ex-partner saying that you can't see your kids no more, that is abuse. So, that's one in many. But I'm going to go through them with you, and then hopefully bring in Raj a little bit later once he's sorted out his hotel. At the moment, he's homeless for the evening because the hotel that he's meant to have is fully booked. So, yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare that he's got going on at the moment. So I can understand that he's running a bit late. That's not a problem. So the next thing is recognising abuse. Now, as I said, what happens is when you're put in that situation and you're living with a partner and you feel, whether you feel scared, whether you feel fear, whether you feel like you can't get out, you don't feel like you have a choice. And that choice is taken away from you, like every other choice that's taken away from you when you're in that kind of relationship. And a part of my story was about, I have people say to me that when I walked through the door and I see him laying on the sofa and he was drunk and he had like 30 beer cans around him, and the first thing I did was I just stood there and looked at him. Now, the last time that happened that he had a drink is that he beat me to the ground and he knocked my tooth out, and I had concussion and they thought I'd fractured my skull and I fractured my jaw. But what he did do is he knocked a part of my jawbone out, so I can't have a tooth there now, and it's a false one. So basically with that, it's like it happened the first time, and the first time you think it's never going to happen to me again, it's not going to happen. And basically with that, I gave him that second chance because at the time he was drinking, and I didn't know until basically a couple of weeks before our wedding day that he was a violent drunk, and he'd come off a drink 18 months before I'd met him. And in the whole time that we were together, there was no violence, there was no shouting and screaming, there was nothing of that. It was absolutely fine. And this one particular time I'd come home from work, and he thought that because I was running late from work that I was cheating on him. And I wasn't cheating on him, I was just working. And at the time, our daughter was like 18 months old. And our son was like, I think he was coming up to 6 years old. And the thing is he came in like a bull in a china shop into the kitchen, and he just turned around and said to me, "So you're sleeping with now then?" And I was like, whoa, I've just come in from work. What are you talking about? You're talking rubbish. And because I turned around, I back chatted him, and that is all I said to him, he just turned around and just punched me in the face. And I was like, well, Aaron, what do you think you're doing? Like anyone would. What do you think you're doing? It's not something that's ever happened the whole time we've been together. And he was like, his face was just like concentrated on me, concentrated on how much you could see the hate in his eyes. And I was like, what have I done to deserve this? And I shouted at him, what have I done? And he literally got me in a headlock and he was punching me in the face. And as he was punching me, my head was hitting the concrete floor of the kitchen. And every time he punched one side of my face, my head was hitting the other side of the concrete. And as I said, he knocked my tooth out, and he punched me in the face, and my lips were bleeding, and I couldn't get out the headlock. And it was such a hard thing to do. And I thought, he's going to kill me. And as I said, it wasn't until, a few weeks before that we got married that I knew this about him, that he was going to hit his mum with a baseball bat when he was drunk, but he'd never touched drink since. And you know, as I said, it was like, it wasn't my problem because I'd never seen it in the whole like 12, 18 months that we were together. So, you know, when I did marry him, and I must admit, I was a bit 50-50 when I married him, which I obviously married for the wrong reasons. It's because I had a daughter at the time that was 5 weeks old, and I didn't want to be left as a single parent. So I got married for the wrong reasons, and that's something that will never, ever happen again. But I was scared. You know, I got left with my first son when he was 1 year old, and he kneed me in the stomach when I was 7 months pregnant. And I retaliated like a mum to be would. And, you know, we didn't really get on from that time. After he did that to me, we lived together just for the sake of our child. So it was like, it felt like this is the second time round that, you know, I didn't forgive the first one. So it's like, if I didn't forgive him, he left and I became a single parent. And then I've got with this one, and if I don't forgive him, he's going to leave, and I'm going to be left with a single parent with 2 children. And I didn't know whether I could cope with that. And I suppose it comes down to fear. And I suppose it comes down to, you know, do you want to be left in that situation again? And I found it quite hard being left in that situation, which is for a whole new show. But, you know, I'm just giving you a bit of background about my story. And when it comes down to my story, it's very much that, you know, to get you to understand the reasons why I'm talking about it today, is basically because I want you to know that I'm not just anybody that's just, you know, doing a broadcast and just showing you this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. I've actually lived this. So I'm obviously explaining this to you, giving my opinion to you. What you do is up to you. But at the same time, if I can save a life, if I can help somebody out, that's what I'm here for. And that's why I'm going to give you my heart and my soul today. Because at the end of the day, I want to help as much as I can. You know, this domestic violence has got to stop. Not just for me, not just for you, but for our children. You know, look, you're even going to get tears from me today. So let's just carry on. So, yeah, so it's very much that when he was hitting me, it was very much that I did the thoughts that were in my head. It was like, I need to get out of this situation. I don't know how. And at the time, my 6-year-old son walked in. He walked into the kitchen and he just turned around to him and said, "Stop hitting my mum." And all of a sudden, everything just snapped. And he just stopped. And he let go of me. He walked out and he cried. And once I got down deeper about what was happening in his head and everything that's happened, that's the reason why I forgave him. But I promised myself it would never happen again. And you know what? For 18 months, it didn't happen again. Not until that one fateful day that I walked through the door and there he is lying on the sofa, drunk as a skunk. Now, you would sit there and go, well, why didn't you walk out the door? Why didn't you just get your children, logic, get your children and walk out the door? It's happened before. So what did I do? Kids, you got school tomorrow. Go upstairs, go and get yourself changed. I'll come and tuck you in. Quietly. I didn't want to wake him up. I tiptoed up the stairs. I got into my bedroom and I called my brother. I need you to come round. I need you to come and help me. He's had a drink. Something's going to go down. I don't know what to do. I need you here and I need you here now. And that was the only conversation that I had. Now, by the time I put that phone down, he was in the doorway. And when I say he's in the doorway, he took one look at me and he just punched me in the face as hard as he possibly could and knocked me flying across the room. Now, the first thing that went through my head was, here we go again. You know, but the kids were out the way. So that was the positive thing. The kids were out the way. But it was very much that he dragged me off the bed by my hair, pushed me up against the wardrobes, punching me in the face. He then put me on the floor and kicked me around the room, kicking me in the face, kicking me on. You know, I had boot marks and tread marks down my face. He'd kicked me in my face. He'd punched me in the face. He'd punched me in my eyes. He'd punched me in my ears. I had boot marks all over my body. And he literally, no matter how many times I tried to get myself up, because I was like, in my head, I was like screaming to myself, get up and get out. But I just couldn't, because every time I lifted myself up, he put me back down again. And every time he put me back down, I was like, he is not doing this to me again. It's not going to happen. And my own stubbornness made me get up. But all that happened is he just put me on my front, and as hard as he can, he just got the heel of his boot and just stuck it straight in my spine. Now, all I heard was a massive crack, and I just laid there, and the pain was shooting through my body. He got hold of me, he dragged me by my hair, and he leant me up against the wall. And the reason why he did that was not just the fact is that he was being kind. It was the fact is that when he actually punched me in the face, my face didn't go backwards. My face just stayed there solid. It got to the point that he punched me so many times that my whole face was numb. I couldn't feel the pain anymore. I couldn't feel that every punch that he hit me in the face, I couldn't feel it. My biggest thing is when I looked at my son. I looked at my son and I said, I'm so sorry. I did this for a second time. You know, I didn't want him to see this again. I didn't want him to see me being on the floor in a pool of blood. And when I turned around and said, I'm sorry, the fear just looked in his eyes and it broke me. And my daughter walked into the room. She's 3 years old. She stood on the bed with her hands on her hips and went, get off of my mum, you can't touch her. And then mother instincts come in. Oh my God, my children are in the room. He's punching me, he's kicking me. You know, he's hurt me. I'm bleeding from the ears, I'm bleeding from the eyes, I'm bleeding from my mouth. I can just about see out of one eye. But my daughter standing on the bed and she was 1.5 feet away from him. It would take one punch for him to hit her, knock her flying and kill her straight dead there and then. So mother's instincts come in. I was like, I've got to get up. Something's got to happen because I need to save her. And I just turned and said to him, stop, no more. Don't do this to the children. Do not murder me in front of the children. And he just stopped. Asked me for my car keys and he left. That's the last time I ever saw him. Now, the first thing my daughter said, she come up to me, gave me a cuddle and said, Mum, are you going to die? I was like, no, I'm not going to die. But you're going to drag me to this bathroom. We're going to go and lock ourselves in the bathroom and you're going to get a phone and you're going to ring the ambulance and you're going to call them and you're going to make sure that I get put in the ambulance because I need help. And I didn't realise the extent of my injuries until I got to the hospital. And even after I got to the hospital, I still didn't get all my injuries. They didn't find that because I had adrenaline running through my body. You know, that is a very short part of the story. You know, that is the main part. But it's like the adrenaline running through my body. They dragged me to the bathroom. I walked down the stairs. You know, I went into the hospital and it was like the pain was excruciating. But they put me on loads of painkillers and I was still walking. I was in a lot of pain every time I walked, but I still would walk. Just out of pure, he's not going to put me down. And to this day, I don't know how I did it. I did it for my children. I did it for me. I did it out of, you know, stubbornness. It wasn't until I was at home and I was on the sofa and I was, you know, I had cocodamols and painkillers just running through my body constantly, you know, for the next 14 months. That the hospital turned around and said to me, you are lucky not to be put in a wheelchair. You need to rest your back. You know, you need to rest your body. You need to heal. But not once did they turn around and say to me, even though I turned around and said he stamped all over me, they didn't turn around and say, we're gonna give you an X-ray on your back. We're going to give you an X-ray on your head and that's going to be it. And that's all they did. It wasn't until I had an MRI 18 months later that they found that he'd fractured and crushed. It's literally gone to dust. My L4 and my L5 on my back, on my spine. Now I've got arthritis of the spine as well, so I'm completely unemployable. So when it comes down to things like that, I sit there and I say to you that is the worst day of my life. But you know what? It's also the best day of my life, because it made me realise, and it made me understand and be the person I am today, and made me go into business, because it wouldn't have happened without it. So I've made that into a positive. But, you know, that is the extreme measures. But what I didn't see beforehand is the abuse that I was getting from him, and I didn't even recognise it. I didn't even know the abuse that I was getting from it. It wasn't until after, when I started doing this kind of thing, that I would sit down and go through all the things that he did with me. And I'm like, he did this and he did this, and oh my God, he done that. And it didn't even register that the fact is that he would take my phone away from me, or he would say, oh, don't go out this evening, because he said it in a nice way. You know, abusers can be nice too, because that's the way they keep you on the fishing line, you know. And it's very much that I didn't recognise this. And this is what I want to put to you this evening, or this morning, or wherever you are around the world. Because, you know, it doesn't have to get to where I am today, or doesn't have to get to where it ended up with me, you know, to be physically hurt. Abuse comes before that. So I'm actually going to go through with you the signs, and to show you what the signs are. So then if you're ever feeling in this situation, if you're ever feeling worried, feeling fearful, you know, for your life, your children's life, or anything like that at all, you know, take to heart what I've said to you this evening, and don't let it get as far as it did with me, because it is not worth the pain. It is not worth it. For my children go through it every day still. So, you know, for me, I can heal, but they won't ever heal. And that's the hardest thing. That's the hardest thing. So I'm going to go through some of your comments. There's a few of you that have put something on here. So, right, we've done that one. Right, we've done the female logic. Raj has just turned around and said that he's in an Uber and he's trying to get another hotel. So I'm assuming that Raj will not be on this evening, but I will get him back on Tuesday. So don't worry, as long as he's not working, I will get you back. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see if we can get online after. That's not a problem. Right, okay, so Adam's put, this may not be the right time to say but what I'm passionate about is social services taking children away from families for the wrong reasons. That is abuse right there. You can understand that, you know, I can understand social services taking, you know, the children away for the wrong reasons, and you are right, but you've got to look at the core side of it. Is what are the reasons why they're taking them children away? What are they fearing? Ask the questions. You know, if the social services are actually taking children, you know, there's got to be a reason why they've built that case. So, you know, the best thing to do is get down to the nitty gritty of it and find your information and see what grounds they've got. Okay. Sorry, I said it wrong. I hate social services taking kids. I can understand that, Adam, but as I said to you, it really depends on the situation. Okay, Richard put, maybe you need to do a few shows on this, giving in-depth detail on 3 of these at a time. Also, evidence has to be CPS and court standard, and also has to be the majority verdict. And what about wrongful accusations and malicious accusations? Exactly that, Richard. You know, I'm going to go a little bit into that a little bit later. And that's the thing, is this does need to go over a few times. It's a bit like we did with the marriage one. It does, because it is such a major thing. And as I said, if Raj can't get on today, who's also part of my 12 with me and Bradley and the other 12, is the fact is that if he can't get on, we are definitely going to get him in, because, you know, Raj comes from the police force. He's done the other side of it. He's done the investigation side. So I want to talk to him about it with him anyway. So, you know, whatever happens, we will get Raj on. We'll talk about it. It's not a problem. Avi put, hey guys, love you, Maxine. Oh, bless you, Avi. It's fantastic. Powerful stuff as ever. Any use of power to abuse in any way has no excuse. You're absolutely correct. There is no way, you know, of anything like that should be done in any way, shape or form. But you'll be surprised how much it is. And I'm going to give you some statistics after. Adam, thank you, darling. I'm all good. It's just when I talk about the kids, it does upset me. Don't be sorry. You said the same to me yesterday. Yes, you are correct. Sending love over to you. Thank you so much there, Deborah. Maxine, love you. You can call me anytime, Maxine English. I could never be like him. Oh, and I don't think you can ever be like him either. At the end of the day, it takes an extra special beep, beep, beep to be like him. We don't know what time it is around the world, so we'll just keep with the beeps. Deborah put, kiss me, kill me is a massive thing in an abusive relationship. Yes, it is. It has to stop, and you need to know the signs and get out of there if you're going through it. And that's exactly what I'm doing today, Deborah. It's all about showing people what the signs are. So I'm going to be going into that as much as I can. Avi put, hey, your children will heal. It takes time. I've been on both sides of this, and it's horrific, no matter if it's physical or mental. Completely. You know, you've got your physical abuse, your mental abuse, your emotional abuse. You know, the kids have got neglect. There are so many different ways of looking at it that it's, you know, it's a major issue. And because of all the stresses in life, it's getting more of a major issue. And you know what? If I can even get to that tip of the iceberg and knock that bloody thing off and make sure that I can help people out, that is exactly what I'm going to do. If I have to go to number 10, or if I have to go to the president, or wherever I need to be, I'm going to stand my ground. So Richard's put, you know, I love you. Oh, bless you. And I love you too, Richard. Okay, so I've told you a bit of my story on that particular day of what happened. Obviously, it is only the short version because we will be here all day. And we don't really want to be here all day because we've got Bradley to see after. So as we were talking about recognising social abuse. So I'm going to go through these in sections, and I'm just going to reel off a few bits from each section. If there's any of you going through any of this kind of situation yourself, take a good look. If you need to go and get a pen and paper now, go and get a pen and paper. If you need to look through the replay, then come and look through the replay, because I'm going to go through quite a few things and I want to see if I can help you in any way. So destructive criticism is the first one. Okay, that is an abuse. Now, destructive, I can't even speak today now. Destructive criticism, I should get my teeth in, is anything to do with shouting, mockery, any kind of accusing people, calling each other names, verbally threatening. They are your main things when it comes down to destructive criticism. That is an abuse. So if you're arguing constantly with your partner, you are abusing each other. You know, where's the respect there? Where's the love? Where's the admiration? Where's the, you know, the trust? Where is the joy? And look at them kids looking at you doing that. You know, how is it making you feel? So that's the first thing. The second one is pressure tactics. Now, this happens on a lot of different ways. Pressure tactics is not just when it comes down to sexual. You know, it comes down to other things too. Now, it comes down to the other person could be sulking. You know, they are pressuring you into doing something about something because they're sulking about it. That is abuse. You wouldn't think so. Someone's sulking for a few days, get on with it kind of thing. But it is actually an abuse. Withholding money. So if you know that you've got bills to pay, you know that you've got things that you need to go and get, whether it's things for the kids, whether it's things for yourself. If one person is holding the money, that is actual abuse. Disconnecting the phone or the internet. So you've got that one. Taking away your phone, destroying a phone, tablet, it could be a laptop, even taking your car keys to say you're not going out today. That is classed as an abuse. Taking the children away. So if you've got someone that says they're going on holiday and they don't come back, or they're going to their mum or they're going to their dad and they don't bring them children back, or they turn around and say you can't have your children, or if you leave me, that's fine, you can do that, but you won't ever see your kids again. That is abuse. And the court will not put up with that. Every person has a right to see their children. Mine, I can understand, I'm a little bit different in the respect of, because the way he beat me and what he did in front of the children when he was there, he's never seen the kids again. And if he was to see the kids, he's only allowed to do supervised visits because it was so violent. So, but when it comes down to a general, the fact is that just because you split, it doesn't make you. The fact is that, you know, you've got to split from the other person, unless it's a physical violence or there's something that's going to hurt the children. You've also got threatening social services. So if someone comes up to you and says, fine, you do this, I'll get social services involved, or I'll call the police, or I'll call the mental health team because you're being crazy. That's also classed as an abuse. If you don't abide by their demands and they make you do things, and if you don't do it, they're going to do something even like to themselves. Like, you know, if you don't give me that £1,000 today, then I'm going to go and slip my wrists. That's also an abuse. Pressuring you to use drugs, use alcohol, making you lie to your friends, family. You know, even if something's happened and you want to tell somebody and they've turned and said, look, don't say nothing. You know, it's going to make me look bad. Don't say it. Okay. So this is all part of the abuse on pressure tactics. Now, the other side of it you've got disrespect. Now, disrespect, it comes in a lot of ways. Okay. And it also comes in, like we talked about, like the shouting side of it, putting you down. You know, even if you've got a partner that goes, you're going out in that, look at the state of you, you know, or turns around and says to you, about time you scrubbed up better, love. You know, there's lots of things that people can say to you, but by putting you down, you know, not only is it disrespectful, that is classed as an abuse. Listening or responding to questions. So if you're asking a question, and I was actually really surprised with this, but if you're asking a question to somebody and they don't answer you, and you later, like, you know, what are you having for dinner? Something really simple, and they don't answer you. Me, I just shrug it off. I don't think nothing of it. But it's also on the list, and I was actually really surprised. Interrupting phone calls so you can't speak to the other person on the line, taking your money without asking, refusing to help with the children. So if you've got a partner that turns around and says, I work all day, I'm not looking after the kids for you to go shopping, or refusing to do housework, that is also classed as an abuse. Could you imagine how many people would turn around and go, I'm going to do you because because you ain't done the housework this week. No use in that one. Right, so let's look at, we've got a couple more here. I'm going to go on to the next one in a second, but obviously I'm going to keep you all involved. So Bradley Chapman's here. He's put, you are also Maxine English. Thank you, Bradley. I don't know if you saw the tears a bit earlier, but I tried keeping them all back. I've experienced it in a formal relationship, but it does take two to tango. It does indeed. It does. But it all depends on what the situation is. You know, it could be if you're one of these people that's, you know, you're very quiet and you keep your things to yourself, but someone is giving you aggro and nagging at you and moaning at you and constantly going at you and goading you, it doesn't give you the right to obviously be like that back with them. But that is an abuse that they're giving you. So yes, it does take two to tango in some respects. I do understand that, but in others, sometimes people can be right, beep, beep, beeps, and we just keep it at the beeps. Bryce put, we are attracted to what's good for and what's bad for us. Yes, we are. Do you know what? Because when I was younger, my dad was a drinker and he used to hit me when he used to drink. So when I got with my husband and he was an ex-drinker and he used to be violent when he used to drink, and then all of a sudden it sort of come around back in circles. And I find the people that I normally attract are people that have gone through any kind of substance abuse. So that he's right, it is a law of attraction. And I suppose I'm just trying to get myself out of that one. Oh, Brad's put, let's get this shared, friends. It's powerful and real content. It is absolutely real. And everything that I give you is always real. It's always, I give you things that I've gone through myself. I give you my heart. I give you my soul. And, you know, I give you what's in here. And I hope that, you know, that you enjoy that. Oh, bless you, Adam. I'm so sorry. Maxine, I had to shut off. I was getting upset when you was mentioning your experiences of being beaten, as I know how it feels. And I had that done to me for 16 years every day. Wow. Wow. That's a major thing. 16 years every day. That's hardcore. And then I assume this is the reason why you're getting the counselling. I'm glad that you've taken the first step and you've started getting it sorted out, because there is no reason for that at all. Richard's put, my mum had Alzheimer's and was cautioned twice by the police for domestic violence. I was there when mum thumped dad in the head and dad tried to strangle her. I separated dad, made sure he slid down the back of a comfy chair. Exactly. And you know what, Richard? It's hard to see your parents go through that. I mean, I was lucky in that respect that my dad never touched my mum, ever. You know, and it was the fact is that he used to come for me more than anything else. And you know, and I can just imagine, whether you're younger or whether you're older, it's like to try and split parents up from arguing and screaming at each other and punching each other. It's not a nice way to live at all. Not a nice way. Okay, so your next one is, let's carry on. You can bring in all your words and all your comments, absolutely fine. But we're just going to keep carrying on, so obviously we can get through this, because we don't want another hour and 10 minutes like last time. So another one is breaking trust. Now, breaking trust comes in many forms. It could be the fact is that they've lied to you on something that you've done, or something they've done, is they've just lied about it. Withholding information. Now, whether that's really important information or whether it's not, it's the fact is that they've withheld it. So that's a part of it. Having other relationships while with you, so cheating on you, that's another big one. Breaking promises and shared agreements. So that could be a marriage one, that could be a house, that could be, sharing a dog. It doesn't matter what it is, it's any kind of agreement. And, it all comes under. Right, isolation is another. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to breathe while I'm speaking to you this evening. So this is what happens when you get tears, you can't breathe. So isolation is when they monitor your phone. They block people that say that you can't speak to them, whether that is over the phone, face to face. They tell you, you can't go and answer the door or anything like that. Stopping you using social media, telling you where you can and can't go, who you can have in the house, who you can't. Also who you could speak to and when you can go out. Shutting you in the house, shutting you in a car. Or even shutting you out of your own house and shutting you out of your own car. That's also another part of abuse. So, isolation comes in many forms. Harassment is another. Following you and checking up on you. No privacy at all, so they get into everything that you're doing. They go through your phone, they go through your laptop to check what you've been doing and how you've been doing it and who you've been speaking to. Assisting on going everywhere with you, even if you're going to the shops. Oh, that's all right, I'll come with you. You're thinking, oh, it's really nice, it's going to help me with the shopping. No, he just wants to know where you're going. It's not always right, but obviously in this particular situation. Or even if they embarrass you in public, you get some people that they embarrass you in public and you're like, shh, you don't need to tell everybody. And you get that and you're like, well, no, you turned around and said this to me and I turned around and said that to you and I can't believe you've done that. And it's like, there is no need for that. Take it home. No one needs to hear that, And the fact is it just doesn't need to happen. Threatening behaviour. Now, that could be in many different ways. Even making angry gestures at you. If they're using their size to intimidate you. If you've got someone that's smaller to you. I mean, my ex-husband did that to me. He only did it once. And it scared the life out of me. I was literally sitting on the sofa. And he come up to me. And he literally just come over me like a bear and just started pointing in my face. But this was after the first instance, and I just sat there and I felt my whole body shake with fear. And I was like, obviously this is still affecting me, and I didn't even realize it was still affecting me, because what I did is I went into work to hide all my situations and all my worries. The first thing I did is I put myself into work. I didn't have to think about nothing then, and that was the thing. And I didn't realize that it still affected me the way it did. And I surprised myself. It wasn't until he did that day, and that that it really affected me as much as it did, because after that he then threw a Hoover at me and he hit the carpet, ripped the carpet. There's so many different things that have happened that you can look at it and go, yeah, all right, he's abusing me. But when you've got some things that someone's making an angry gesture, you wouldn't think of that as an abuse thing. But it all comes in, it all stems up. It goes. It goes into tiny little bits, and it comes as a pyramid. They are all the foundations of an abusive relationship that ends up being bigger and bigger and bigger. And as you get higher, the boulders get bigger. So all these little stones, they turn into boulders. And this is what you've got to think about. These are all the things that you've got in your life, that if these kind of things that are happening, write them down. He did this or she did that and they did this, and add them all up. All these things do add up. And when you think it's only once or twice, it ends up being 5, 6, 10, 20, 30 times, or on a daily basis. Like Adam Turman said, 16 years on a daily basis. I mean, that's just wow. Absolutely wow. I'm gobsmacked. So then also you've got, if they're doing the threats on the other side of it with breaking items that are yours, also punching walls, punching doors. And there's also a part of obviously threatening behaviour, knife and gun, which is obviously a given, and threatening your children or pets. So that's another one of the threat side of it. Now, you've also got the sexual violence side. Now, some people think that you can't get raped by your own husband. because you're married. So you've got a right to, Richard, I'm having a drink. So, you know, you've got a right to be in a sexual way with your partner. But do you know what? Some cultures, you have to do it because it's the law. But the fact is, you can actually be raped by your own husband, you know. And if you don't want any kind of sexual experience on that particular time, you know, there is no reason for any forcement and no reason for any stress about it and using forceful, you know, words to get what you want out of it. You know, so sexual violence is all about using force. It's intimidation, you know, intimidating someone to do a sexual act on you, because if you don't do this, then you don't love me. And if you don't love me, what is the point? That is a form of abuse, because it's very much that, you know, that you feel like you have to do it out of fear. And even if you don't want to do it, you have to, because if that doesn't happen, and then they're going to leave. And I had exactly the same, that even before I was married. And I didn't realise it, really. It was like he turned around and said to me, I want 5 children. And I was like, well, I don't want any more kids. I don't want no more kids. I said, I've got 1. And he was like, well, if you don't have 5 children with me, I will leave. So I sat there and I thought about it. And we agreed that I would have 1 child to make sure that he's got his own blood. And that's where I got my daughter. But when I look back on it, I didn't think about it at the time. I just like, how dare you? You left it as that. But it's only now that I look back on it and it's like, I should have turned around then and gone, fine, leave. But I didn't. And what that does, that gives them the okay that you're happy to accept that kind of behaviour. And once you accept the behaviour, it happens again and again. It's when you don't accept that behaviour, is that when things start falling apart. But you've got to be careful, because it can go from one end extreme to the other. Because what you can do is, if you turn around and go, I'm not accepting that behaviour, it's not going to happen no more, and you can leave and it could be the end of it. And that would be amazing, because you know what? You've got a lucky escape. Okay. But on the other side of it, if you're married, or if you've got different cultures or anything else like that at all, is the fact is that if you start standing your ground and you've not done it for many years, and all of a sudden you get your confidence back and you stand your ground and your self-esteem's gone up and everything's working out and you're thinking, yeah, I can do this, I am not putting up with it, it could make it worse for you. So you need to be quite shrewd in what you're doing to get yourself out of that situation. And it needs to be quick. And I mean, literally, if you've made your mind up that you want to leave, yeah, and you're worried and you're feeling threatened and you've got fear whether they're going to hurt you, hurt your children, or anything like that at all, you need to get out now. So whether, you know, they're on working on nights or whether they've gone to bed or whatever it is, you've literally got to be packed. You've got to be sorted. You've got to have money behind you. You've got to have everything. You've got to have friends. You've got to have family that know about it, to make sure you get yourself out there quickly and easily. Get your kids out of bed. Get out of the house. Because if you've got them problems and you've got them fears and you feel like, you know, things might occur, and this is a lot of reasons why people don't leave, which we'll go through in a sec, is the fact is that they're scared. What if I get caught? Would they take it out on me and the children? Are they going to come and finish me off? I had exactly that fear. I had that fear that when he come out of prison, is he going to come and find me and finish me off? Now, he's been out of prison. It happened in 2011, and he'd been out of prison 2 years now. And fingers crossed, he hasn't come and found me. But, you know, there is always that thing in the back of your head. What if they find me? And you know what? Realistically, that thought is there, but it's how you react to it. It's how, are you going to fear the rest of your life? Or are you going to build your strength up, build your confidence, build your self-esteem and work through it and work forward? You know, making sure you say to the children, you know, when you come out of school, you come straight to me. You do not go with anyone else. You let the schools know. They do not go with anyone else except me. You do not ring anybody else except me or a person for an emergency contact that you've actually supplied to the school. Let them know. I did exactly that. I let them know what happened at the school, so they knew about it. I let the doctor surgery know. I let everybody that knew. I even went to social services myself and let them know, because I wanted everything to be on record, and I never hid from anybody. I made sure that whether it's the ambulance, the police, you know, the council that does my council tax, you know, when it comes down to, you know, friends, family, everybody knew. I wasn't embarrassed or ashamed about it, because you know what? It's happened. Deal with it. I couldn't do nothing about it. So it's very much by letting everybody know, it made us safer. but I had to change jobs. I had to move house, and I had to move the kids to school. And I did do that, and that was out of safety. And I completely moved out of the way. And it was just like, it made life so much easier, because I felt that every time I walked out of the house, he might have been sitting around a corner waiting for me, you know, when he got out of prison. So I knew that I had to move on. So, you know, if you're going to do it swiftly, do it quietly, and do it quickly. Okay, so this is my opinion to you. It's up to you how you deal with it. Right, so we're talking about on that side of it with you know, when it comes down to sexual violence. So we've also got is if it comes down to, they make you look at pornographic images. You know, you get some people that really enjoy that and really like it, and they want you to watch it too. If you don't feel comfortable in doing it, then don't do it. If they make you do it, it's still not right. Putting pressure on you to do something, forcing you to have sex with others. Obviously, we know that's not a good thing, but it does happen. Degrading you sexually, degrading you about what you look like naked. You know, it's not a nice thing. It makes you feel embarrassed, low self-esteem. You know, anything for putting you down is not a good thing. Denial is another one. Saying abuse don't happen. You know, I've never done that to you. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I have that now, even with my mother. You know, my dad never hit you. You know, what are you talking about? Dad hit you. Dad never hit you. You know, it's only what you caused yourself, because you wouldn't keep your mouth shut when you're drunk. You know, and my mum, I could go about that, because it's like she was just blind to it all, blind to the whole situation. But a lot of it happened when she was in hospital, so she didn't see the extent of what happened. But never let someone tell and say it didn't happen when you know for a fact it did. You know, saying things that are your fault. Well, the reason why I punched you in the face is because you went and cheated on me. The reason why I punched you in the face is because you never run my bath hot enough. You know, it could be something really stupid, but the fact is, it's never your fault. You know, and even if it's something that you have done wrong, it doesn't give them a right to lay a hand on you. And don't you ever forget that. If you've wound him up, you know, yes, all right, people get stroppy and they get stressed and everything else. Walk away from the situation. You know, you don't need to lay your hand on somebody. If someone can't control their anger, crying and begging for forgiveness in public, you know, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean that. You know, I've never done it before, I'll never do it again. I'm such a worthless person. I'm so sorry. It won't happen again. Please forgive me. That's what I heard the first time round. And so you go, all right, it's happened once, I'll forgive you. But don't let it happen again. No, I won't. I promise you, I won't happen again. And then it happens again. Because if they've got that personality that it can happen once, they've got that personality it can happen again. And you know what? A leopard can change its spots, but it doesn't mean deep down that they're actually completely changed. It just means they've got a new coat on. Okay? So just be really careful. So a lot of you people, you would say, you know, if it comes down to when I turned up at that door and I said to you earlier, why didn't I just leave? You know, leaving, Adam, why didn't you leave? Why did you put up with it for 16 years? You know, it's an easy thing to say, but until you step one day in their shoes, you don't understand the reasons why that you can't just leave. It's not as simple as that. It really isn't. You know, it's all about the power. It's all about the control. They have everything. You don't understand of how bad you feel when someone tells you every day that you're not going to be good enough to be with anybody else, that they only married you for something to do because they had nothing better to do that day. When they turn around and say to you that you're only good for one thing, and that's working or doing the dinner or in bed at night time, you know, when I look at you, no one else is going to take you because look at the state of you. You know, it is literally nitpicking at your person, your confidence, your self-esteem, everything about you. You know, they nitpick at it, and it's very, very small, and you just shrug it off. But if I come to you every single time that I did a broadcast and I turned around and said of how horrid you all are and how much I didn't like you and how much I didn't want you there and I didn't want you commenting, how many of you wouldn't do that anymore because I didn't like it? But if I turn around and said to you, do you know what, guys, it's absolutely amazing that you've come to see me today, that I've took my time out to come and see you and you've took your time out to come and see me, is the fact that I'm giving you all this content that you can use and take back with you or know somebody else around you that could use this. And I love it when you comment, and I love it when you send me loves and hugs, and I love it when it's absolutely brilliant, you know, and I love it when you interact with me. And that is what you're going to do. You're going to interact more. And the problem is when you've got an abuser, They don't do it every day. They nitpick until you get to a certain low. And then they give you an absolutely fantastic day. They take you out for the day. They take you out for dinner. You know, they be really romantic for the night. You have a fantastic day together. You know, you realise the reason why you fell in love with them. You know, they give you everything that you ever wanted. And you sit there and you can feel your heart fill up with all the love and affection that you had previously. And you're like, this was amazing. Why did I ever worry about, you know, this person? But then what happens is as soon as you got all that love back and they're getting what they need, which is you doing dinners or you cleaning or you looking after the kids or you working, or give them everything they need because they feel powerful again and they feel amazing and they feel in control. You know, it's the fact is that what happens is as soon as you start getting that, they take it away again and they start being that person they were before. And this is another problem with what happens is that, have you ever been in a relationship where you give and someone takes? And then what happens is you take that away, and rather than go, oh, well, I'll start giving you, what they do is they get angry. Well, why aren't you doing that no more? Why have you stopped doing that? Is it because you don't love me no more? You know, and the thing is, it's like, it's not until you realise, yeah, if you've got a relationship like that, cut it clean. It is not worth it, you know, because all that happens, things just get worse and worse. I see Avi's having a bit of fun going on there. Avi, I can see there's a lot of things going on in your emotional side there. You're more than welcome to comment, my darling. If you want to ask any questions, if any of you want to ask any questions, I will answer you, you know, but I hope you like plain English because I will be blunt and to the point. And it's down to you if you want to take my opinion, want to take my advice, but I'm here to give it if you need it. So, you know, a lot of problems that you find when people don't just leave is because mainly it's because of fear. It's fear that, you know, they're going to come back and they're going to hurt them. You know, or the other side of it is that abuse is normal. If you've been brought up and say for argument's sake that you've been in a family that mum and dad have constantly argued and, you know, you've seen them hit each other and you've moved out and you've got into a relationship and it starts happening again, you see it as a normal everyday life thing. You are programmed to see that, and that is normal. So what happens is when you get hit and you see your mum or your dad being hit, it's the problem that you find is that it's like, oh, it is one of them things, you know, it happens because that's what I've always seen. And that's why it's so hard on children, because they are our next generation. They are our future. And the thing is what's happening is we're destroying our future because of our selfishness. And that's my word for the day. Destroy their future for our selfishness. Let's make sure we stop that now. So you've got even fear of being outed if you're gay, lesbian, transsexual, or anything like that at all, transgender. You know, a lot of people have fear because they're going to out them if they know about it. So that's another one. Embarrassed or ashamed that they're being hit. You know, that people are very proud. My dad was hit when he was a child. And the core thing it comes down to, the reason why he hit out, because he was hit. And he used to get hit by his dad, and his dad used to, and my dad used to hit me. So it went on and went on. It's only me that have stopped and say that's not going down to my children. So that's the thing. It's like a lot of people go, yeah, but it's tradition, or yes, but that's what I saw, and I'm just like my mum, or I'm just like my dad. Do you know what? You don't have to be just like any of them. You are just yourself. And yes, you've picked up them, but they're learned traits. So learned traits can then be taken away. You don't need to carry on learning them things. It's just a bad habit. You may feel that the reason why you don't leave is because you don't deserve to leave. You may feel that the reason why you don't want to leave is because you love them or they love you. Or the fact is that you couldn't do that to them because it would upset them. It could be to do with cultural things. It could be to do with, you know, to actually divorce or to split up with your partner or husband. The cultural turns around and says that they look down on it and you are shamed from your family. You know, or it could be a religious aspect, you know, and it comes down to that kind of abuse. I mean, when I spoke to my son's dad's parents, I turned around and said, even though that we'd split up and he'd walked out because he'd cheated on me, and obviously then he kicked me in the stomach when I was pregnant, it was very much that I rang his parents up and I said, he's still your grandchild. You're more than welcome to come and see him anytime you want to. However, the answer I got was, you wasn't married. So far as we're concerned, he doesn't exist. I mean, how hurtful is that? And I'm glad that he told me that and didn't tell him that, because just because the sake of, at the time they were Catholic, is that they didn't accept him. And I just think that's wrong, because he's still a child. Doesn't matter whether it's, you know, to do with that or not. And it's the same with some other religions out there. And I'm not going to get into religion because that's not what we do here. But I'm just putting it out there that some religions don't accept children, or they don't accept, you know, you splitting up with the other person because, you know, you've been in an arranged marriage or whatever it is. You know, I personally think it's wrong. Everybody to their own. As I said, I don't get into things like that. So I just thought I'd put it out there to you. It might also be, it could be language barrier, or it could be an immigration. Is the fact is that you know that you'll be deported if you split up with them. It could be that you've got a lack of money, lack of resources, lack of family and friends around you. You've got nowhere else to go. You're going to be homeless. It could be the fact is there's nowhere for you to, you know, no one to see and no one to help you on the other side of it. And this is where problems happen. And this is a lot of reasons why people stay, because they don't know where to go, because they've been isolated with their friends and family, and they don't want to tell people because they're embarrassed. And then what happens when they do want to finally leave and build up the courage to do that, they've got nowhere they could go anyway. So, and then the other one is you find that some people got disabilities, and you don't know how many people get hurt even when they're disabled. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. So if you've got any questions, guys, you're more than welcome to ask. I am literally going to be leaving soon because I'm coming up to my time. But I'm not going to end up being able to go through all of this. But we've got 7 different facts to find out. We've got on top of that as well, and I will go through this next week. It's going to have to be next week. That's absolutely fine. We've also got about children, what to do next if you're in that relationship, what to do next if you're with children in that relationship. And, you know, what I'm going to give you now is, if you need help, if you listen to what I've said to you today, if you have got any kind of fear, any kind of worry in your life of what you're going through, don't be scared to pick up the phone. Just down there, I've put a number in. You've got the number for the National Domestic Helpline, 24 hours. This is in the UK. However, anybody else around the world, if you type into Google that you want help with domestic violence, you can get the number come up. Okay, so you've got 24-hour National Domestic Helpline in the UK, and this is for women. It is a free phone number. The number on there is 0808 2000 247. You've also got the men's advice line. So men, if you're getting hit by your ladies, you've got the men's advice line, which is open Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. That is also a free phone number. It's 0808 801 0327. Or you can ring Menkind, which is 018 23 334 244. Now, I'm not going to go through anything else with you this evening because my time is up, but I have got more to tell you, and I'm going to bring Raj in next week if he can make it. And what we do is we'll carry on talking about domestic violence, and we'll talk about, we'll do a bit of a recap like we did with Chinder with the marriage side. And we do this again because there is so many out there. And if you've got any questions, then ask me. It's very much that people need to know this. So if you can like the page, if you can share this video, you never know in your friends list how many people are actually going to be gone through domestic abuse. There is so many different people out there of all walks of life, all religions, that have just gone through so much in their life. I'm going to give you 2 things now. 1 in every 3 women and 1 in every 4 men have been in an abusive relationship in their life. 1 in every 5 women and 1 in every 7 men have been in a severe physical violent relationship. Right? Women are assaulted across the globe every 9 seconds. Yeah, there is so many different things on here. It blows my mind of how many people are hurting people. We are blood. We're all brothers and sisters somewhere in the world. You got to look after each other. Yeah, there'll be someone in your timeline. There'll be someone on your Facebook friends. There'll be someone in your contacts that's gone through what I've gone through. They might have not been so severe, but they've still gone through some kind of abuse. You might be going through abuse yourself. Don't ever sit back and just let it happen. It's not worth it. You've got one life. That one life is not a long one. maximum, what, 100 years if you're lucky. Seems like a long time, but I'm halfway through that already. I'm not saying I'm 50, but I'm just saying. Okay, so what I'm saying to you guys, yeah, and girls out there, is don't just have your heart on your sleeve all the time. Is if you're going through it, be strong. You know, work out a way to get through it. And for anybody that knows someone that's going through it, be a shoulder and give them some advice and send them to counselling, send them to go and speak to someone, because you could save their life. And by sharing this video today, if you can save someone's life with just the pointers that I've gone through today, that's what it's all about. But I'll come back to you next Tuesday on Content Tuesday, and we talk about this again, because it is a massive thing, and we need to get there. We've got on here, so we'll take that off a minute. So we'll hide that one. So Abby's put, of all of this is great and powerful stuff. I'm just in awe. Thank you so much. You're answering my questions as you go. Oh, Abby, so much, darling. If I can help you in everything you're doing, even if I help one person today, I've done what I've come to do. I would love to help so many people out there. And if you can spread my word and my love and my faith and everything else that I've got for all you lot out there, right, is that we'll put a stop to this together. But I can't do this alone. I can only help you start the snowball, but then I need your help to grow it. And if you can grow it and help me, and then I'll help you back. Okay? Ari's put, I'm typing and you're answering before I can get to the end. You are awesome. Thank you. Share spree. Exactly that. Share spree. Share. So everybody, like and share exactly what I've just said to you. And we'll go through some more. Okay? And if you are, any of you, so we're going off that subject now, but just so I let you know, it's at 9 p.m. UK time. In 30 minutes, you're going to get Bradley Chapman on. Now, Bradley has got the broadcast launch of the Yes You Can Inspired to Achieve broadcasting at 9:30 British Mean Time. I will be on there with Bradley. We're going to go through what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be heading up the broadcasting. So if you want training by me, if you want coaching by me, and then obviously you can get in touch. If you want coaching with Bradley, then you can get in touch with Bradley, and you've also got the 12 as well. Okay, so 30 minutes time, not a long time. Go and make yourself a cup of tea, and I'll see you back here in 30 minutes. All right, guys, thank you for calling. Thank you for staying, I should say. And I wish you all well, and I'm glad you're all okay. And make sure, take that first step. And when you do, ring this number. It's all there to help you. All right? Thank you, my darlings. Wish you well. Thank you for letting me have my tears. And I hope that I've helped you this evening. And I'll see you all on Thursday. All right, darlings. Take care. Bye-bye.